So over here I have a session that I created in Pro Tools first. Before I continue, let's listen back. So I'm pretty sure you guys heard this session. Now what I want to talk about in this video are stock plugins. Hear me out. How many of you guys know somebody that got a DAW, they never recorded anything, and the first thing they'll say, hey, where can I get this specific plugin? I want to sound like that track. And again, the person has no experience. You know what? It's okay to ask questions. But let me be honest with you guys, there's no magic plugin. So we're going to take a look at the plugins that I got in this session. Now all these plugins you can use with Pro Tools first. In the master channel, have the stock EQ, have a channel strip plugin. This plugin doesn't come with Pro Tools first. You can purchase it. And over here, I have the stock DigiDesign compressor / limiter. Now, I've been doing this for some time. I do like to put plugins on the master bus. If you're just starting out, don't put anything on the master bus. But of course, you can experiment and you can see what works, what doesn't. That's the way you're going to learn. So if you're wondering, why do I have an EQ on the master bus? Personally, I don't EQ on the master bus. But one of the reasons why I have this, the metering. Yes, I know Pro Tools has its own metering system and all of that, but you know what? I found that this meter works for me. Some of these plugins got really good meters. Now, that's just my opinion. That is just something that works for me. You guys can look at the metering here, but when you're using Pro Tools first, you don't really have this option here to change the different styles of metering. This EQ could actually do a lot of things that other EQs can't do. One of the things I love about this EQ, so if I wanted to isolate the mid frequencies and I want to do a sweep, check this out. Pretty nice. There are some paid plugins that don't have this capability. So if there's a frequency that's bothering you, then you can just isolate the mid frequency, do your sweep, find what's bothering you, and you can do the cut. Another thing you can do, holding down shift, you can boost or you can cut. All right, so the next plugin, we're gonna move on to the channel strip plugin. Again, I understand this plugin does not come with Pro Tools first, but I believe you can buy this as an add-on for Pro Tools first. So what I'm doing here is just some slight compression. So let me bypass the other plugins. Check it out. Not really pushing it as hard as I would push some other compressors. So let's close that. And I'm going to bypass that, and I'm going to open the stock Digi compressor / limiter. Now, this specific compressor will ship with Pro Tools first. And basically, I'm doing the same thing. I'm using it for some glue. And it does have some fantastic features. Has key input, you have some sidechain options, you have your knee, attack, gain, ratio, release, threshold. Some of the paid plugins got this functionality too, but there are some that don't. You have a lot of flexibility, you have a lot of options here, and you have to sit down and learn how to use this plugin. So if you decide to learn the plugin and you feel like you mastered the plugin and your vocals sound great, your drums sound good, because you're putting this compressor on everything, and you feel like, okay, I got this. Two things are gonna happen. You're gonna stay with the compressor because you know it like the back of your hand, or you might want to move on to something that might add a little something different to your mix. So I have another copy of the EQ3. This is the one-band version of the plugin. This is the plugin that I always go to. It's a fantastic plugin. And right now, as you can see, I'm doing a little bit of boosting. Well, it looks like a lot. Well, it's going to help if I solo this track. Let's turn the plugin on. As I said, it looks like I'm boosting a lot, but when you're listening back, it doesn't really sound like a lot is going on. But I am opening the top. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy the settings and I'm going to overdo things. Let's see what happens. So let's go back to what I did before. Very subtle, but you could definitely hear the difference. So the next plugin that I'm using a gate expander / gate that comes with all copies of Pro Tools. Now here's where it gets really interesting, because I created the song using Pro Tools first and I couldn't really use any of my plugins, so I kind of had to get a little creative. So when I was putting this together, and for some reason in my mind I started thinking about how DJs sometimes grab the fader and cut the sound really quick just to get like a cool effect. I really didn't have a way to do it. Yes, I can cut the individual track and do a hard cut, but I didn't really want to. And that's where the gate came in. And it did exactly what I wanted. And it wasn't really a hard cut. Now, when DJs do it, they completely shut the sound off. So let's bypass. This is how it sounds without the gate. All together, sounds like this. So when using a program like Pro Tools first, don't feel that you're completely limited. Yes, the program has some limitations, but if you're starting out, learn the program, learn the plugins, and whatever you're thinking about, eventually you'll be able to do it. It's just one of those things that it's gonna take time. Don't expect to download Pro Tools first and tomorrow you're gonna sound like the song you're listening to on the radio. It's gonna take time. Learn the tools, watch tutorials, but practice. Watching tutorials is a good thing because you can get an idea how things work, but it's not gonna make you better unless you get your hands dirty. So like always, if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to check the description. If you have a question, post on the bottom. If this is the first time watching my videos, subscribe. Also, press that bell, get the notifications. This is Ray, and I'm out of here. Later, guys.